All right, what's up, you guys? I am here with a very, very special guest, Daniel from Wrestling DVD Network, a website a lot of you are probably familiar with. It goes back a long way for me. How you doing, my friend?
I'm all good. Happy New Year. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a big way to start the new year.
I'm sorry it's not on better news with the DVDs going away, but yeah, it's a good opportunity to speak. And you've got a big following, so it's a good place to start.
Yeah, man, I think a lot of people are going to be interested in this video. And go ahead and tell us about yourself a little bit and tell us about the site.
Yeah, I started the website back in like 2010, April 2010. Remember it quite well. Um, Probably more like as a blog. Like I just thought it would be a blog where I just cover anything going on with the WWE DVDs, but it turned into something a bit more of a monster, didn't it? Like
Yeah.
I'm very much a news site, but I was always like inspired by the dirt sheets, even though it's totally different. Like I quite like the way like Wrestling Inc. did it because they weren't like the best sourced website at the time. Sorry, but I think they've got better over the years. But it was just like a very nice looking website, and I think it was a good like user experience to that website. So I wanted to sort of do a dirt sheet all about the DVDs, if that makes sense, but less data because it should all be like official information.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I discovered it around 2011. It might have been leading up to the WrestleMania 27 release. Um, like I was looking for the release date or something, and I stumbled across your site, and I was like, "Holy shit! There's a whole website for wrestling DVD news and reviews and stuff like that." So
It is
yeah,
interesting how it sort of blew up. It seemed to blow up in that first year, and I think like Google's always been kind to the site, like maybe because there's not a lot of competition, but like if you Google a certain DVD, 9 times out of 10 you get us in the like top three listings. So if you Google like a match listing for like Stone Cold's 4 disc DVD from several years ago, we should be there. And to this day, people are still googling that stuff. So yeah, it's well worth keeping up, I think. So even if the DVDs are gone, like I do want to maintain the website and keep it going.
so with the DVDs being canceled, did you see this coming? Like, how long did you know before it was announced?
I knew 100% probably the week before the announcement. So not, I think the announcement was probably on like a Monday or Tuesday, and I knew late that the previous week to that. So pretty on the same sort of timeline as everyone else. But it's also been a long time coming almost because it almost happened in going into 2021, I think. No, 2022.
Yeah, 2022.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know all the information, but something happened, something to do with Peacock, and Peacock probably wanted exclusivity, I guess, on all the footage, and just to get rid of the DVDs. I'm speculating, but something like that to do with contracts, and I'm guessing they turned it around probably with an amended contract or something like that.
Yeah, I remember when that was announced, and I was like, okay, it's over. Everyone kind of came to terms with it, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're back. So, yeah, this time for real, huh?
Yeah, and I know at that time when we reported it, people probably thought we sort of made that up or jumped on it too quickly, but it was actually true at the time. So this is a good little opportunity to to make that clear. Like, yeah, they were going away, and yeah, that something to do with Peacock turned
Yeah,
it around.
yeah, things change. And you're just reporting what you knew at the time, and it seemed like there was just a swerve behind the scenes, then like last minute, So
Yeah, it should also be noted that I think for the past maybe like 5 years, it's always been on like a rolling contract. So at the end of every year, there's always a bit of uncertainty. Is it going to continue? Like there wasn't like, I don't think anyway, I'm speculating a little bit, but there wasn't like 2 year, 3 year contracts being signed. It was always 1 year and then let's reconsider our options sort of thing. So that's why now, like, the UK is not going to get Survivor Series because that would always be in the next calendar year for the UK. So unfortunately, that hard stop on the DVDs means the UK they only get Crown Jewel. That's the stoppage point for them, just because of how it fell. Like the end of 2023 means you only get Crown Jewel in the UK.
So yeah, you
there's
can't.
a lot of people asking about that, and people saying, why aren't we getting Survivor Series? Why aren't we getting WrestleMania 40? Because it's just not going to happen for next year, like for this year now. Like it's as simple as that, even though it's not like nicely tied with a bow. It's pretty nicely tied with a bow for the US, but not for the UK.
Yeah, like at least we get to complete the year. Like that really sucks for you guys. You can't even complete the year. You can't even get the CM Punk return, for God's sakes.
I was thinking about this, but also like people don't talk about importing DVDs as much as they used to. Like the UK can quite easily import, I think. As if you're a serious DVD collector, you can easily just go to Amazon.com and grab the US version of it. So yeah, it's not impossible, is it? Especially with a DVD, you can get a multi-region player and you can play it. I'm guessing a collector will just want to have it and keep it and not necessarily play it anyway. So I think there are ways to do it if you want to do it.
Yeah, I might have to get a sealed copy or two of Survivor Series just in case.
Yeah.
You never know. If it's truly the last one, which I believe it is. So
as of right now, it definitely is. So I think that's another thing. People think we're about to like announce that actually it's coming back. But as of right now, and we are 1st of January right now, it's done.
it's over. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you think we could ever get like special releases, like once or twice a year? Or is it completely out of the table, like off question, done?
All depends if they're sticking to the licensing, then it's done, isn't it? Because they're probably not going to start mid-year. But if they just choose to make their own product, they could easily do like a WrestleMania 40 DVD, Blu-ray, and just produce it in the quantities that sell, or produce it in small quantities and try and sell it. I'm sure it would sell. It's always been a popular DVD, that one.
Yeah, I wish we would get WrestleMania 40 at the very least. Mainly because I might be going. I'm probably going.
I'm trying to get there as well, as you know. But
yep.
It's a little bit for me, but I do want to make it happen.
Yeah, I know you and I were talking about it, and yeah, I definitely want to go. It seems like it's going to be, I mean, it's an anniversary show. It seems like it's going to be bigger than normal. And it's only an hour and a half away from me. For you, it's a lot different, but...
Yeah, I'd have to go to London and then get a direct flight, if I choose a direct flight, and then that's like 7 hours, and then... But once you're there, I think it's all good. Like, I think the stadium's not too far from the centre, and pretty accessible city as far as I know. I've never been, but...
Yeah, Philly's a cool place. Yeah, I think you should go, man, and we're gonna see what we can do. That's all we can say at this point.
Just for context for everyone else, like I had this trip booked with a friend, or almost booked, and like for his own personal reasons he pulled out, but which I fully get. I'll just have to forgive him in time. But like, yeah, I'm finding my own way there now, I think. We will see.
Yeah.
There's something about it. Like the last one I went was WrestleMania 30. It just feels right to go 10 years later and the website's sort of changing now because of the DVDs going away, and just be a good sort of ending as well. A little bit of an ending for me.
Would that be an ending, or like what's the future for the site?
As I sort of said, I'm definitely keeping it online because it's my baby. I love it. If any of you guys love it, then I really appreciate that. All the visits over the years, been millions and millions, I think, of like page views. It's not like millions of people a month. It's like in the tens of thousands now. But at one point, it was in like, say, like 100,000 visitors a month in its peak. Like, and I know that's nothing compared to like, I don't know, like Fightful or Wrestling Inc. or PW Insider, but for DVDs, I think that's pretty good. Like, I never expected that when I made the site as a blog in like 2010. So, yeah, pretty happy, pretty proud of it actually.
Is there a moment you knew, like, well, when did you realize it was peaking? Like, was there a moment where you're like, holy shit, this is taking off?
Sort of when we were getting like exclusive news, and like we didn't have a whole lot of help from WWE, but there were times that they sent us like the full year schedule of titles, and they were quite supportive. Like even with the name, I don't know if you can see the sign and the classic logo.
Yep, there it is.
But like they were supportive even though we named the site their brand and stuff like that. They were sending us like advanced copies of the DVDs, like by FedEx. I'm in the UK, as you can probably tell. So we're getting like a FedEx of like one that sticks out was like Chris Jericho's DVD in 2010. Like it arrived like a month or two in advance, so we could review it and take photos of it and all that good stuff. Yeah, that's probably when I knew like the site had made it. Like, and I think I met like I did meet like the head of like home entertainment. He gave us tickets to a live SmackDown in the UK. We met that guy briefly before the show. Yeah, it was around about in the early years, 2010, 2011, where I thought this has really like kicked off into another gear.
Yeah, I mean, I figured WWE was supportive. Would you say your involvement with them has changed over the years?
I think it sort of morphed into more like we got friendly with the UK distributors. Started as Silvervision, but they were gone probably 2 or 3 years into our run. And then it was Fremantle, and I got pretty friendly with those guys. Those guys are pretty legendary, and used to go for a drink or two with them on the live shows and that. So, yeah, I'll miss that end of it because those were good guys. And unfortunately, like the DVDs going away does affect me, but we were an unofficial source. Like Fremantle were like the official guys, and as far as I know, they're going to be losing jobs over this. So it's not a great ending or story for those guys, but they had a great run. So I can only wish them the best for what else they can get into next.
Yeah, I mean, I figured there'd be some job cutting.
That's just the people I know of. I'm sure there's like a whole team in the US who are probably in that department who obviously can't do that now. So yeah, hopefully they get jobs in like the network side of things. I don't know how it works in the US, but yeah.
Yeah, you would hope they'd get other offers or be implemented somewhere else structurally, but you never really know.
Yeah, I had like a tweet last night from someone saying, are you now retiring, Daniel? Are you going to sit on a beach somewhere? But it's not quite like that for me. I got like a full-time job. My full-time job's in SEO, which is like making websites rank higher in Google. And I work for like an agency. I've had a full-time job for probably 5 or 6 years now, just because I could see, obviously, DVDs wouldn't last forever. I wish they would. I would have liked to work on it full-time for longer, but I think I had a good 4 or 5 years working full time on this website, so it was a dream come true in that regard.
So you were actually able to live off that website at one point.
Yeah, for maybe 4 years or so.
That's
And
cool.
that's just writing and putting ads on the site, and like, I don't know if you know, like affiliate marketing, where someone clicks a link and then if they make like an Amazon sale, then you get a little kickback.
Mm.
It was quite good with WWE Shop when they had DVDs and they did like a Black Friday sale. That was really good for the website. So if you ever clicked the link and bought something, I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, we did pretty well considering we never physically sold anything. It was all writing articles, it was all digital. So, yeah.
And what would you say YouTube's influence was with the site and the relationship with YouTube and your site?
Yeah, part of why I've made the site was I felt like there wasn't like a main source for this information. Like there was a bit of like activity on message boards and stuff. Silvervision were really good at like getting match listings out, and they got into like Twitter and Facebook, but also like you guys on YouTube, like you were like pumping out news and pickups of DVDs and stuff. Like, so I think my vision was let's bring it all together, because I did like use like YouTube videos in articles quite a lot as well. And yeah, like bring it all together. And I think I was influenced by a few things like the data sheets and also you guys on YouTube. I think some names were Sean Blackford, who I ran the site with in the early days, and like he is quite instrumental in the success of the site early on, because he was like a sounding board. Like we could phone each other up about what's going on with like Silvervision. And yeah, there were a few guys I met along the way, like Mark D, who I believe designed that logo, if you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he, to this day, is like my right hand man on the website. He does all the designs, like the thumbnails, and like if I ever don't know much about wrestling, he's like a wrestling historian. Like he's the like I know wrestling from about the year 2000 onwards, but that guy's like an encyclopedia of wrestling. So it was a team effort. Like mostly me writing the articles, but definitely there's people like behind the scenes who should get credit. So it's part of why I wanted to come on here and credit everyone while we're at sort of an ending point, but hopefully not an ending point as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a way to continue on. Have you ever considered getting into YouTube yourself?
I don't think I'm that sort of guy. I did consider it quite a bit, but I was pretty busy on the website and it never really came to be. But I guess you never know. Like I'm on YouTube right now. So
Yeah, here we are. I know you had a brief channel, right? Like you would post every once in a while.
Yeah, shout out to Aaron Carnival and I think his friend Tony, who basically set up a new like web series called WWE DVD News TV, and they ran that for a good maybe 6 months. Aaron owns like a WWE DVD News hoodie, probably the only hoodie in existence. So I'm quite jealous of him for that. I'd like my own. I should probably make my own, but it just feels like he owns the only one, so he should have it.
I would buy one. I would.
I would buy one as well. Maybe it's a next step for the website, make some nostalgic merch or something.
Yeah, just do like a little limited run or something.
I think I was always a bit like I can't write WWE on a hoodie and sell it. I think that was
yeah.
Don't know.
Well, you've had a couple
gray area, isn't it? Because it's not the logo, but it is the trademarked, I guess, initials. So.
Yeah, and
I just refrained from that because we were doing pretty good without merch and stuff. I didn't think people would want merch either. at the time.
You had a couple of name changes too, correct? Did that have to do with the WWE name?
Yeah, WWE was pretty supportive of the site, as I've talked about, but at a certain point, I think, well, I'll just admit to it, I overstepped the mark on something, and they weren't too happy, and we had to change it. And luckily, I registered Wrestling DVD News. That's what it changed to initially. I'd done that in case of any legal issues in the future, so it was quite an easy switch, and we didn't sort of lose traffic or anything. And I think everyone just went with it and thought we were probably branching into other types of wrestling DVD, which we weren't. We just had to change the name.
Yeah.
But if you type www.dvdnews.com into a browser, you still get to us. So luckily, like WWE, when they took the domain, they didn't make it not work anymore. They kept it working, which was nice.
So did they force you to change it, or was it by choice?
It wasn't by choice, so I'll just say that.
Okay. And a lot of people might, this is kind of a legendary tale at this point. I have it somewhere here, but the legendary quotations banned Owen Hart DVD.
Yeah. Let me take a swig of this before we get into Owen stuff.
Good old juicy story.
Yeah. The band one, actually I heard from a legit source that Vince McMahon hated the original cover, Vince McMahon himself, because apparently he was a big advocate for the DVDs, which could be speculating here, but why they went away. Vince isn't as involved anymore, is he? But I heard continually through running the site, Vince was a big advocate for the DVDs. Maybe he's stuck in the past a little bit, but yeah, to the point that he'd even approved the cover designs and stuff. So apparently he was furious about what this original DVD looked like, because it didn't have Owen on. I think it just had a heart on with
Yeah.
I think he's in the background, but it's not very clear that it's an Owen Hart DVD, is it?
Yeah, I have it here somewhere. Might be over there. But yeah, I remember I actually preferred the old cover. Maybe that's just me, but
I think it's I can't quite remember the story, but the cover that it changed to, they could only change it if that image was in the actual documentary or something. So at some point in the documentary, you see that image that the final cover became, just as a shot, a really quick shot in the documentary, as far as I remember. Because there's some legal thing where to have something on the cover, it needs to be included in the feature. I don't quite know if I remember the story correctly, but there's something like that. And I think in the documentary, you do see that photo just for a few seconds.
Yeah, they just kind of threw it in there.
They had to edit the documentary or something like that to get this image included. Someone can go back and verify that. And
someone will figure it out.
There's something to that image. But that's really interesting, isn't it, about Vince? And he was really hands-on with stuff, even down to the cover artwork. Found that quite interesting.
Yeah, it is. I didn't know he was that hands-on and even cared about it. Because you would think he wouldn't even know what's going on with DVDs. It's such it's kind of a small part of the business. It's the home video, which was a dying niche at the time. So I'm surprised he was even that hands-on. I actually think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but you can also imagine it, can't you? Because apparently he was anal about everything, wasn't he? So it makes sense. And maybe there's a bit more scrutiny on that particular DVD because they'd had a lot of trouble before it even came out, which you might remember.
Yep. Is there a reason why some of the band covers got out? Because I got my hands on one at Walmart.
And with the Owen one, like I was told they're gonna destroy all the copies because it was already produced. It was quite late in the day. Like someone said to me, they're gonna destroy all these. Not just someone, quite a good source. But like a month or so later, they all, not all of them, but a certain portion of these DVDs turned up in stores, and you got one. I imported one myself because I knew all the backstory to it, so I had to have that one. Yeah. But as I say, like why the scrutiny could be on this DVD quite a bit is Martha Hart found out about it through our website. Like she didn't know about this DVD. This is all like facts that we've got on the site, so I'm not saying anything I shouldn't, I don't think. But she found out about it at the same time that we posted it, which that doesn't feel very fair to me, like given what happened to her family. Like, and we issued like an apology when we actually said that she had approved this DVD because that's what we'd been told at the time. So yeah, we got a lot of things right, but we got that one wrong. But the DVD itself did happen, and we were right about that. But it just felt like Martha should have approved it for it to happen. Like they'd had all sort of lawsuits, I think, with other DVDs regarding Owen's inclusion. So for it to come out, we did assume that she approved it, but she didn't, and she let us know that she didn't, and gave us a statement. All of this can be found on our website if you Google it. But that was a controversial one, I won't lie. And we revealed it on what would have been Owen's 50th birthday because we thought that's quite a nice tribute to honour his career. But we were pissing off his family at the same time, so that wasn't our finest hour, shall we say.
Yeah, I would have thought legally she had to approve it. Like,
yeah, I think we were told it had the backing and support of the whole family, so that's what we thought. So we went with it, and that wasn't. I'm guessing they had all sorts of disputes after that, and it probably hurt what the DVD became, but we can't know that for sure. We don't know what it was originally meant to be like. But yeah, that was a tough one.
Yeah, I remember when it came out, I wasn't satisfied with the quality. I know Bret Hart, to quote, he said it's the shits. So
yeah, I think Bret actually said that Martha had been involved with maybe changing it, indirectly changing it somehow. So
yeah, because it felt watered down. It felt like it was just hitting marks, just to hit marks, just so it could be released. Like, I don't know. I just don't think it was the documentary he deserved. I think the match selection was a bit meh, but yeah. And then why did the DVD get released in the first place? Because that's a controversial name. It's not like releasing a Benoit DVD or anything, but like I'm surprised Vince would even want spotlight on Owen, because at the end of the day, it was on them that he died.
it's tough to know why it happened. I don't know how the company operates, if there's some pettiness. Like I think they had disputes about whether they could or couldn't put Owen in DVDs. Maybe something in my head says like they won some legal battles and then they were free to do whatever they wanted regarding Owen, so they put out a DVD. But I don't know. I'm speculating there.
Would you say that's... Go ahead.
Ultimately, it did happen, and despite everything, they just went with it. I don't think it'd even been revealed to anyone other than our website at that time. But yeah, they just went with it anyway, didn't they? So
yeah, I mean, a lot of people were happy about it. It was getting released. I was skeptical because I was like, well, what all are they gonna do? And I don't know. It's not the worst DVD ever by any means, but
got a good story to it, hasn't it? I mean,
Yeah, I think the background of the DVD is more entertaining than the actual DVD itself.
yeah, no one expected for like the old cover to show up and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a unique one, and it's quite a long. It's been years and years since that came out. Now it feels like 3 years ago, but it was like 2015 or something.
Yeah, I think it was 15. Would you say that's the most controversial release, or is there something out there that, backstory-wise, has more to it?
Controversial for our website, that was the one. But there was the Attitude Era one, the original. I think that was 2012, probably. Maybe like late 2012. That was in the middle of like Linda McMahon running for Senate or something. I don't know US politics or anything, but we'd announced it was happening, and then like for sensitivity reasons, WWE wanted to say, actually, it's not happening. This was the time when like politicians were pulling up like YouTube clips of the Attitude Era and trying to use it against Linda's campaign, I believe.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of that, we're announcing that there's an Attitude Era DVD. And they said, no, that actually we're wrong, that's not happening. But it was happening. They removed it from like, it's like a internal database that we've got access to that I guess links up with like Amazon and Best Buy and things like that, Walmart. They removed it from there, so like it looked like they cancelled it, but actually I think they were just stalling until after the election or whatever. I don't know if you remember that, but that made us look,
I remember that one.
Like we made the story up, but we didn't.
Yeah, because I remember thinking like, what's going on with this damn DVD? Like,
I think obviously that was a time when the site was like really popular, and the more popular you are, you get some haters, and the haters were like, oh, you just made that up. WWE have said this isn't happening, but ultimately it did happen, didn't it? So I guess we were right on that one.
Yep, screw the haters. This is an interesting question for a lot of people. I'm sure they'd be interested in hearing the answer. What are some DVDs that were supposed to happen that never did happen?
Yeah, Shane McMahon comes to mind. I think that was like scheduled, then cancelled, and I think it showed up on like a survey after that, but never actually came to anything. So
I remember that one.
Yeah, maybe like the Survivor Series anthology, that was never completed. But I don't remember that ever being scheduled. Just that just didn't happen, I think.
Yeah, I think maybe the sales weren't quite what they wanted of the first two volumes, so they're like, eh. And there might have been some copyright problems. It would have to have been like heavily edited, like the WrestleMania anthology. That's just stuff I heard as to why we didn't get it.
Yeah, and I don't remember many like box sets since we made the website, which was 2010. And I guess the anthology was that like a year before then or something. Like I don't remember too many like big sets since running the website, really. Like there was the Raw. What was it? Raw? I don't remember what it was called.
Oh yeah,
Big Raw
the box set. Yeah,
it wasn't like a massive box, was it? It was like, was it 10 discs or something?
Yeah, and it had like 15 episodes for like the 15th anniversary, I think. Yeah, I have that one somewhere.
That was a cool one. And that's a good example of one that got cancelled because that was meant to be on Blu-ray as well, if you remember. The whole DVD Blu-ray thing was probably a good talking point because they never quite reached the point where they do a DVD and a Blu-ray for everything. It was always like hand-picked stuff. I think it started with like the John Cena experience. I'm really testing my knowledge today on this, remembering back to the years and the title. But yeah, like WrestleMania 24 got a Blu-ray. That was before we started the website. Must have been 2008.
Yeah, I remember that being the first Blu-ray.
And then probably every WrestleMania after that got a Blu-ray. But the first like superstar one was John Cena when we were making the website at the time. So it was always sporadic, wasn't it? What got a Blu-ray, and then some stuff got cancelled, like Dawn of Attitude, the 1997 set, and I think it was an NXT one. They both got cancelled in the US. I'm sure lots of other Blu-rays got cancelled that I can't remember, but they come to mind. Those ones. Do you remember that yourself?
Yeah, I remember.
In the UK, those particular ones carried on, and they did get Blu-ray releases, but in the US, they didn't.
Yeah, it just seemed to, like, it kind of hit its peak, and like we were getting a lot of 2009, 2010 ones, like pay-per-view Blu-rays, and then it just kind of started tampering off. Like, is there a reason? Was it just not worth it? Cost?
I think just DVDs like outsold them by a massive amount, and they cost more to produce. All the classic things that has been reported already, like they cost more, they don't make as much money. Like what's the point? Like let's just put our efforts into stuff that makes money and is really cheap to produce. So I don't know, like obviously collectors, the hardcore ones and the hardcore audiovisual like fans want it on Blu-ray, but does it make sense for like WWE or whoever, Fremantle in the UK? Does it make business sense for them? Probably not. I do speak, obviously I spoke to the Fremantle guys a lot, and they have like DVDs in supermarkets like Tesco and Asda. I don't think they've ever had a Blu-ray in the supermarket. It's always DVD, and that probably shows you like that's where the demand is. People in the supermarket, they're just picking up a random DVD for their kids or whatever. And price is an issue, isn't it? And it comes down to price, I suppose, for someone picking up in that situation. And a DVD is really cheap, and a Blu-ray costs more to produce, so it's going to cost more in the shop to buy it to make money.
Yeah, there's usually like a $5 to $10 difference. To be fair, I was more the DVD guy. Like, I don't have all the Blu-rays still. I didn't really see a reason. Maybe it's because I started with DVDs years and years and years ago. So Blu-ray never meant quite as much to me.
I think I'm a bit different. Like I love the Blu-rays, and I always found it hard to like WWE was HD since 2008, and then to still be buying an event on a DVD, it just didn't sit right with me.
It is strange, yes. Yeah.
And like obviously the first WWF DVD was in like late 90s. Like for it to still be going on, just felt like too long. It should have just been both at one point, but obviously it couldn't for the reasons we've been through there.
Yeah, I think 99 was the first, so 25 years almost.
Yeah.
Did you start collecting when they first were released, or did you get into it later on?
I got into it probably it was like 2003, like obviously long before the website, but like it was actually my dad. He told me about a site called eBay. Obviously everyone knows eBay now, but in like 2003, it was brand new to me, and I was like, eBay, what's this? People selling used goods, and I'm not interested. But yeah, he was looking for he was big into fishing, and he was looking at fishing reels and fishing equipment, and ultimately he would sell stuff as well on eBay, which is what I did with the wrestling DVDs eventually. But anyway, just on eBay, I just decided I wonder if the classic WWF events from the Attitude Era are on DVD, because I got into it like the year 2000 with the build up eventually to like WrestleMania 17, which I love, and I've got a little poster there of it. But yeah, one day on eBay, I was just like, I wonder if King of the Ring 2000 is on DVD, which it was. It'd gone out of print by then in 2003, but you could get them dead cheap, and that's where I started my collection. And those ones are probably my favorite DVDs, actually, just for the nostalgia. Also because like they've got the WF logo and nothing's like edited. I can see some of them in the background actually if you're sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's kind of a mess over here at this point, but I have everything together at least. I mean, I never really showed my new setup, but it's kind of the same as it was, not too much different. I actually I can't fit it all in one corner anymore. I have a shelf over there and some in a box over there from when I moved. So yeah.
I've still got all mine, but they're like in my mum and dad's house, like totally different house, and they're not with me. I've got some of them here next to me, but I've still got the complete, well, pretty much the complete collection, except for the past couple of years because sort of tailed off a bit collecting them, but I've got absolutely loads, hundreds probably in my old house. But yeah, that's where it started with those WWF ones. And for years, I would. This is where it all started for me. I used to import loads of WWF DVDs from the US to the UK when they were dead cheap. They were like, I think they were like $3 each or like $5 with shipping to the UK. I used to like collect them, but also sell them. And that's where my journey started with it all, actually. Doing that till like 2007 or something. And then just a few years later, started obviously WWE DVD news. So I've been around it, not just as a fan, but like trying to make a business out of it since 2003. So yeah, I am that old. I don't look that old, but I am that old.
Oh man. So it's still hard to believe it's gone. I don't know. It just feels weird because this time it feels real. Like last time it felt real too, but then last minute it changed. So I mean, it's taken up a big chunk of our lives. Like you started 21 years ago now. So and then I started collecting in like 2006, 2007, wrestling wise. So I still have a big catalog to buy. I'm gonna get some imported from the UK. Some of the exclusive ones, like I think the Cody Rhodes one, and some of the other special releases over the past few years. All right. So is there any reason why, especially the last few years, the UK seemed to get exclusive releases that the US didn't?
I think it sort of comes down to Silvervision and then Fremantle the past 10 years. They just got more creative with it and could put more sort of thought into it. Almost sort of seemed like with the US releases, it was just like very, you need to get this, and this out. You know, they had like 12 releases a year at one point, I think, or 14. And it was just like, get them out. But like Fremantle, I guess they had a bit more flexibility on what they could do. If it made business sense, they probably would do it. I've got the Cody Rhodes DVD here next to me, and it's a really recent example, and an example where Fremantle like designed the cover themselves and chose what was on the discs themselves. And it's a shame that they were allowed to do that last year, but obviously nothing's continuing now, so they can't do it again. But I don't know if that answers your question, but they definitely put more effort in, and that DVD shows they were willing to sort of make their own. Say if the US had ended but the UK didn't, they could have carried it on in that same sort of vein, but they just don't have the opportunity to do that now, which is a shame. And as far as I know, like the releases in the UK were still doing really well, like still profitable. It's just like there's going to be a void, maybe more so in the UK than in the US, but I'm not too sure on that. But
no, I'd agree. Yeah, it seemed like they wanted to carry it on, like they're releasing their own stuff, and I think in a perfect world they could keep moving forward with it, even if the US can't. But I would just import them. Like I'd be perfectly fine with that.
I think the issue is like the US is the central hub and everything. Every release, sort of, other than ones like that, but every release followed the US, like for the most part. Like these were like extras that they could do. But it feels like if the US is gone, then like the heart of it's gone, so they can't. But they could have easily, I guess, made like a contract only with the UK guys and kept them going that way. But I guess they just want a hard stop on it. Some people are speculating like it's a strategy to get everyone signed up to Peacock or the WWE network. Maybe it is, but I think it's just like a change of direction since the merger to TKO. As far as I know, anyway, like that'll be the reason for it. I think it's not coming down to money. Like they don't make money like they used to, but as far as I know, they still make good money. Maybe it's like one of their least profitable departments, purely speculating, but it was still profitable. So it's a bit of a shame, especially in the UK, because that's what I get to hear about the most, the UK, and things were still good there. And Fremantle probably had their hands tied as far as what they could release. There was some like the Cody Rhodes one that they could really get their teeth into, but probably a lot of the stuff they just had to like there's some recent ones where it's like the best of Stone Cold and it's purely the feature from the WWE network. Like they're probably allowed to put out certain stuff and just they can't like make their own WWE documentary, obviously. Like if you don't have the US backing for that, it's just not gonna happen, is it?
Do you know if there were any scheduled releases for this year that are now obviously canceled?
I don't think anything was scheduled because it's on like a rolling basis, isn't it? Like things are renewed at the end of the year, as far as I know, and I think they had I was told actually they had lots of good ideas, but that's sort of as much as I know. Like they always had ideas probably planned for the next year, but scheduled probably not. It's just that how long did WWE know that they're not gonna continue? I don't know that. They've probably known for like several months. So to schedule anything for next year just probably didn't happen, as far as I know.
Yeah, so it's probably the case that they already knew. If there were no developmental plans, then it was probably dead in the water, unfortunately.
It is a shame though. It feels like it's not quite complete. It was like going downhill a little bit. Obviously, the quality of releases have gone down, but I think the pay-per-views and WrestleMania and everything, they were amongst the best sellers. So, like, things were still selling, and they might not have been as creative anymore, but it just feels like it ended a bit too early. Even though it was 99 that started the DVDs anyway, like that seems like a hell of a lot of time, but actually it probably did end a bit too early. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty biased with that opinion, but
No,
those people I talk to feel like it ended a bit too early.
Yeah, because like for the first time ever now, like we're gonna be behind on pay-per-views. Like after the Rumble, like it's not getting released, so now I'm gonna be like, well, now it's not complete anymore.
There's always the argument from people why buy the DVD if it's on the network, which is a fair argument, I think. But if you want to own something and have it forever, it's the only way, isn't it? Really, like DVD or making your own DVD, which I can't really condone, but I guess people will do that now.
Yeah, there's gonna be some bootleggers for sure. But speaking of the network, were you worried in 2014 at all when the network was launched?
Yeah. In a word, yeah. So eventually I would change the name of the site to Wrestling DVD Network and bring in some like news, and we had some pretty cool pages. Like we had a WWE Network updates page, which whenever something new would get added to the network, that page would update automatically, and it's quite a cool page. It doesn't work now because they changed the network like a few months ago, which I'm trying to fix that at the moment. But Like we did incorporate some new features into the site for that name change, which was quite cool. We had two new writers, John and Steve, at that time. I was pretty worried, but I was trying to adapt to it at the same time.
Yeah.
And then,
good.
like, WWE, they kept putting out DVDs which were essentially stuff already on the network. And was that the best approach? I don't think so myself. Like, I think there was like a Shield documentary, but they extended it a bit for DVD. As far as I remember, anyway. They definitely did that for like Daniel Bryan's documentary, I think. But that strategy, putting out network stuff onto DVD, probably didn't seem the best of approaches. They could have just made DVD content a bit more unique, exclusive, maybe. But,
yeah, because like some of the 24 documentaries got released, and I was just like, it's kind of strange. Like they would release that when it's already on the network. Why not just make something brand new? Like do another compilation set or another documentary.
yeah, I guess it comes down to effort. They put their effort into the network, and then they probably thought we could make a bit more money by getting that network thing onto DVD as well, but kind of screwed the collectors a little bit, didn't it? But it comes down to, do they just want to make money or do they want to satisfy the collectors? Like, is it lucrative to just satisfy the collectors? Probably not, I guess.
Yeah. So let's say you, back in the day or whatever, you had a few creative ideas for a DVD. Like they'll let you do whatever you want. What are some of the DVDs you would have done that weren't made?
I always liked like the big box sets. Like when WrestleMania hit, like WrestleMania 30, it would have been good to just have like a Blu-ray box set of everything. Even though there'd probably be lots of edits and stuff, it would have been cool to have Blu-ray box set. Turn the question on you. What do you think they should have done?
I'm big on anthologies too. I still wish we got the Survivor Series box set, not just 2 volumes. I would love like a Saturday Night's Main Event anthology or like King of the Ring. Yeah, I love the box sets. We haven't gotten, oh God, I think the last big one was the SummerSlam in 2008 or 2009.
Yeah,
Was that the last big one we got? And I would love more stuff. Like one of my favorite releases is the leather-bound WrestleMania anthology set signed by Vince. Like I just wish we got really cool stuff like that. Just like more autographed items, more limited stuff, like for actual collectors, like something we would go out and like run around for to get.
Yeah, I absolutely love the box sets. Remember like the Hell in a Cell one with like a Kane bust and an Undertaker bust,
Yeah.
2 different sets. Absolutely love that stuff. So yeah. But as far as like an individual release, it would have been good to get like WrestleMania 17 like on Blu-ray or something with like a documentary on it. Absolutely love WrestleMania 17. Show that off again.
Yep.
Like they could have done that a bit more. And Fremantle again, just bigging up Fremantle here, but when they put that out, like would have been a good way to go. Can you see that? Sorry.
Yep, you're good.
Would have been good to do a few more like that, where you single out a particular event and then put extras on there. Like you don't really need WWE's help. It's not like a new documentary, is it? You just get some extras together on top of the original event, and you've got a new Blu-ray. You could have done that a bit more, guys.
Yeah, like there's money to be made by just putting beloved shows on Blu-ray. Add some, yeah, that 92 set is phenomenal. Like I was surprised with the detail they went with that one.
Yeah, that must have been last year, 2022, like around Clash at the Castle. So then we had another whole year where that wasn't, I don't think anything was done like that.
Yeah.
Which was a shame. But Fremantle did have like the Raw 30th anniversary DVD, I think, was one of them. That was exclusive. I was reading back on the stuff that they had this last year, and I'd forgotten that was an exclusive as well. So putting like special Raws or something on DVD would be a good way to go as well.
And speaking of Clash at the Castle, I know you were at that event. You had mentioned to me before. What other events have you been to?
Well, I've been to like most of the live Raws and SmackDowns in the UK since it started in like 2004. So mostly you could find me at those, but like a few pay-per-views. Went to WrestleMania 24, which was like the Ric Flair retirement or one of his retirements. Edge and Taker in the main event. I went to WrestleMania 30. Obviously, that was Daniel Bryan's big year. And Undertaker's streak ending, so that was a good one.
What was your reaction?
We thought it was probably like a botch or something. Like,
yeah,
we just didn't think it was real. But then they showed the what was it, 21 and 1 on the screen, and we were like, oh shit, that was planned because that graphic they made that graphic at some point.
Yeah, I feel like they made that graphic just so people would believe it was real.
One of my friends I went with was a huge Undertaker fan, and for that to happen, like sitting next to him, it was like, oh my god. I felt sorry. Felt more sorry for the guy next to me.
Yeah, I remember watching that live. I was on my laptop just messing around because that match was just kind of brutal to get through. It was just kind of, Taker was hurt. They were just kind of going through the motions. And then the 3 count hits, and I'm like, what? Like, I was barely paying attention, and then it just, like, the world stopped.
It wasn't a particular match that, at least the guys I was going with, we weren't really massively looking forward to it. I don't think it had the best build-up in the world, and it just felt like Undertaker was going to beat Brock, and same old, really.
So before we wrap up this video, it's been an awesome video, man. I appreciate you coming on here.
Thanks for having me.
What's the immediate plans? Like, what can we expect here for the site?
It's definitely staying online because there's no, we're not affiliated officially with anyone, so we can keep it online, unlike other websites. I've just renewed the hosting to keep it online for 6 months, so at least 6 months you'll see it, and I don't see any reason to take it down. It is my baby. I'd rather it stay up for eternity if I can. But there's a few things to do. You could do an article the best WWE DVDs of all time. We don't actually have that article, which is weird, isn't it? A bit crazy. So yeah, I think Mark D, who I mentioned, I think he's working on that at the moment. So that's one thing to look out for. I've got WWE DVD covers that were designed but never used. Had a recent article on that. I don't know if people like that or not. Didn't really get the vibe, but there's
I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've got 20 different covers that were made by WWE but never released, never ultimately chose. That's kind of a good little talking point. For each DVD, there were probably 5 different covers, and someone's got to pick them. Maybe it's Vince, I don't know. But yeah, they must have different designers who design the same cover or different cover for each DVD, and one gets picked. So I could do an article where we've got some of them.
All right, so we're about to wrap this video up. Where can we follow the website for new updates and stuff like that?
Well, same place, WrestlingDVDNetwork.com, but also the Twitter X page and the Facebook page still going. Those will stay up as well. Obviously, we want to continue the website, and if there's no WWE to talk about, there is AEW and other promotions, and if anyone wants to help out with that, because admittedly I'm a WWE guy. I do like AEW and I've got into it quite a bit, but that's why I made the website WWE DVD News originally, because that was my thing. So if anyone wants to help out or get in touch or talk about it, you can just email me the old-fashioned way, which is daniel@wrestlingdvdnetwork.com. If you've got any ideas or you want to work together in any way, then we can chat. But yeah, that hopefully there's other things to talk about, not just WWE. And if WWE end up doing like a WrestleMania release one-off, we can talk about that. So yeah, you'll still find me in the usual places.
Yeah, let's hope for some one-offs. That's my hope. Just WrestleMania. That's all I ask for at this point.
Also worth a little mention, speaking of WrestleMania, like I'm trying to collect. I've still got a collector in me. I'm trying to collect every WrestleMania chair, the ringside chairs, which started about WrestleMania 10. But I am also like selling a lot of chairs. I've got like a bit of a hobby on the side to like clean up and like restore the old chairs and sell them, because I buy quite a few people's collections. And maybe you could link to it underneath the video if you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on ebay.co.uk, but I ship everywhere basically. If you type in WWE chair in eBay, you'll eventually find me, I think.
Yeah, I have one, and I'm sitting on it right now. So.
But ever since like COVID times, I just made it a mission to find every WrestleMania chair. I think I'm missing like WrestleMania 12, 13, and some of the recent ones. So I've done pretty well finding them all. But they're pretty hard to like store. They're massive, aren't they? And yeah, it's quite hard. My wife is not too happy with me buying all these chairs. Well, storing them is really difficult. But yeah, I like to collect them, and particularly the events I've been to as well. Like Clash at the Castle, I was able to sit ringside, which is pretty much what got me back into WWE after a few years not really being a fan anymore. But yeah, I just got the ringside bug, and I went to Money in the Bank as well. Got the chair eventually. They had to ship it out because they didn't have any when we got there. Yeah, so I love collecting that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, so I'll have your link.
Still collecting Blu-rays. Got this one for Christmas.
Oh, nice.
Another example of like a documentary I really loved that actually wasn't produced by WWE. So hopefully there's still things to talk about that aren't WWE, because that was quite a recent release, wasn't it, on Blu-ray?
Yep. But yeah, that's my favorite wrestling documentary. I think Wrestling with Shadows. I watched it. Yeah, I watched it again recently. But if you guys are interested or you enjoyed this, let us know. Maybe we can do this again. And yeah, there's going to be some links down below. I'll put your eBay page with the chairs and, of course, Wrestling DVD Network. And you can follow them on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. It is Twitter. But I appreciate you coming on here, my friend. It's been fun. And hopefully we can have you back on soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and see you at WrestleMania 40.
Let's hope. Yeah, we'll do a video for that for sure.
I'm just pushing for it because I've got no one else to go
with. I'm trying. It's
really fun. Be really fun. I mean,
yeah.
I can go 7 hours on the plane, and you can go 1 hour 30 minutes.
Yeah. I'm literally just driving there and driving back. So.
I've just got my like finger on the buy now button on a flight, so I just need a push.
Yeah. All right, man. It's been fun having you. Hope you guys enjoyed this. For now, peace out.
Happy New Year.